The Johnsky is a YouTube channel run by and run for people over the age of 13. People under the age of 13 should click off of this video right now, or watch with a parent or guardian. Viewer discretion is advised.
You don't scare me!
Mills is freaking today, Milishman. My name is King Prime, and welcome back to another video here on the YouTube channel. Today, we are finally going to take a look at another brand new Transformers Studio Series 86 action figure. One that I have been waiting for the entire time I've been collecting the new Studio Series and Legacy lines. That being the Transformers Studio Series 86 Commander Class Optimus Prime. Yes, my GOAT is here, and I have so much to say about this. But before I do that, let's take a look at what Optimus comes in. Of course, he comes in a standard Commander Class size packaging, which is bigger than my hand. For scale, little Lego minifigure, such as Batman. As you can see, he has Prime doing the touch, jump, blast thing, and the artwork is so nice. I'm actually not going to throw away this box because I like it that much. The Transformers the movie trades up there in the nice orange gradient coloring with the Transformers Generation logo, as well as the red Transformers logo up on the side. He's the 31st figure of the 86 line. His name is Optimus Prime. He's an Autobot, obviously. Some more photos of the toy on the very front there. On the top, however, we just have the Transformers the movie again, as well as Optimus blasting off. On the side, we have the 8631 again with the Studio Series logo, Commander Class, and a wonderful portrait of Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. On the other side, we do have another photo of Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. And then the authentic stamp down at the bottom. On the back, however, we do have so much stuff. Of course, it has big screen inspired, as always, in Battle of Autobot City. It has Optimus with everything that he comes with, 40 steps to convert, of course, picture of him in his robot mode, vehicle bay for the trailer, same as Optimus Prime, Autobot, the Transformers the movie logo. We have Roller with the repair bay thing on him, which is something that you can do. And then the whole repair bay gimmick. There is the bio there, which I will read, because Optimus Prime joins the Autobot City Defense to stop the Decepticons, no matter the cost. Perfect branding there. It's something so simple, but it makes me nerd the hell out. I really love that they included that. Down at the bottom, legal jargon. And down at the very bottom, more legal jargon. But of course, being Studio Series 86 packaging, there is an included display base. I believe this one is unique to Prime, as it is the shot of him coming into Autobot City to send thrust into the atmosphere. I don't think I'll be using this because I've never used them, but I figure, I might as well keep this. But that's not all. Before I am even beginning to review this, and as I'm watching Choppy stream here, I actually just opened up the figure and noticed that they packaged Optimus just as he appeared on his deathbed in the 86 movie. The first thing that entered my mind when I saw Prime tied down to this cardboard is, I fear the wounds are fatal. And that's all I'm going to be thinking for the rest of the year, that they package Optimus on his deathbed. That's all I really wanted to say. Back to the review. That's enough for the box shenanigans. As I say in every single video, my friends, you only really care about the packaging if you're a box or card collector, which I'm not. I'm here to open and review toys, and that is just what I'm going to do. Freeze frame. Freeze frame unfreeze, and here is Optimus out of the packaging. But before we take a look at him, let's take a look at what he comes with. And what he comes with is quite a bit. The entire trailer is absolutely packed with stuff. But before we get into the contents of the trailer, let's take a look at the exterior. It is just essentially the G1 trailer with a little bit of extras here. Of course, it has the side fold-out supports that help with a little bit more stabilization. Just fold out the struts there and fold out the feet. It does have the kickstand, which can go up and down and stuff like that. So if you want to put that up and just have those supports going down, you can. And then of course there is the trailer hitch, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But then around on the back, you do have this blue section on the back of the truck, which stores two of the accessories that we'll talk about a little bit later. Let's put these aside until we talk about the vehicle mode. Getting into the actual trailer, all you need to do is fold down the ramp, then crack the thing in half, and you are revealed to all of the goodies that Prime's trailer comes with. The first one, of course, being the Ion Blaster, which is a perfect representation of its G1 itself, just with this little tip on the end so that they can attach the included blast effect pieces so that you can have Prime shooting things. And of course, Optimus can hold the Ion Blaster, open up his fist all the way, and then slide the hand into and fold the fingers around it, which works out perfectly. And then of course you can attach the blast effect onto the end and complete the look that he's actually shooting something like so, which is very nice. And of course, like I said, there is storage in here in the trailer for both of these items. Of course, there's another blast effect piece that it's included that just goes onto this clip and this clip, which holds the front and the back of the ball of the blast effect. Same thing down there. Then of course there's this tab right here. It's very hard to see because it's all gray plastic, but there's a slot on the side of the Ion Blaster that you can just plug that into and it'll stay just like that. On the other side of the trailer, however, you do have, of course, the Energon axe. It works just like the blast effects. It just goes into these two clips and stays in there. But getting Prime back into frame, you can have him wielding the Energon axe. All you need to do is open the arm a little bit, fold in the hand, and close up the arm again, which reveals this peg right here. And this peg is able to wield the Energon axe. So that's how that works, and it's very G1 reminiscent. There's no, like MP10 has with the fist inside of the Energon axe, which can possibly break. There's no risk of that anymore, which is awesome. And then of course you can just store this right back on the side of the trailer. So that works perfectly. Going into the detailing of the trailer though, you do have a little bit of grate detail here. Grate, G-R-A-T-E, meaning like a metal grate, which looks pretty good. There's little studs and stuff going all the way up onto the roller and the repair bay's part. You can see all of the detailing going all the way up along with this track that's there. On the sides of the trailer walls, however, you do have some mechanical detailing, which I'm sure you can get toy hacks for to make them look really, really nice. Same thing on the other side, just different design, which goes all the way up onto where the blaster is held. So it's very nice. And of course there are clips there, so you could store the Energon axe on the other side. It's all a matter of options. But of course, getting the trailer out of the way, we do of course have roller and the repair bay. Roller is very basic. He's just, roller. I'm pretty sure you can fit headmasters in here, or not headmasters, but the power masters or whatever the hell those things are called. I don't collect them. I know that you can fit the little figures in here. That's all I really know. But of course there's also pegs here, so that if you so chose, you could bring the trailer in, and then when Optimus is off fighting the Decepticons, you could have Roller manning the trailer, which is actually very cool. I love when Roller gets incorporated into the design of the vehicle mode like this, so Roller can take control of the trailer, which is absolutely awesome to see. Of course, also included is the repair bay bot that has been included in pretty much every iteration of the trailer ever since the first G1 version. It has an extendable arm. It does have the radar dish, which unfortunately does not spin, but it is there to complete the look. And then the arm, which is pinned into the actual chassis of the thing, so it can swivel all the way around, and then it has another swivel at the top here on this mushroom peg, so you can get a full rotation there. It has a pinned hinge so that it can bend it in half, and then another hinge pin at the hand so that it can actually open and close that claw, which is very cool, I think. The cockpit also can open if you want to store. Actually, I don't even know what would go in here. If anyone knows what can go in here, leave it down below. I think that it's cool that the cockpit still opens though, even though there's no Diaclone figures to put in there. One really cool thing that you can do with the repair bay is that if you bring in Roller, as you can see, there are 2 pegs in the bottom here that you can plug onto Roller so that Roller can have like a battle station kind of going on. Let me just pull that away real quick. And then of course, as you can see, on the front of the repair robot, there are 2 pegs. And if we bring in the trailer again, and we are to pull out the 2 blast effects, you can plug those onto the front and have a combat roller, which I think is absolutely hilarious. I love the fact that this feature is incorporated. They really did put a lot of the thought and engineering into how the accessories would incorporate into the greater scheme of how this toy works, and I really do appreciate that, so it doesn't feel like it's overinflated like a MP44 or something. But of course, the repair bay's primary function is, of course, as the repair bay. And so if we were to just get the trailer back in here and open it back up, there are, of course, those 2 holes right at the top here, 2 pegs at the bottom of the repair bay spot. You just plug those in, and you have it at its station where it should be. As you can see, there are also 2 tabs on the front of the repair robot right there. If you look at Roller, he does have 2 slots underneath the front of his hood. Fortunately, there's no launching gimmick, or Roller doesn't really sit in there like the G1 Roller does, where he's, ready to launch or whatever. He actually goes in backwards and hooks in like that, and then he's secured in there, so he's not gonna, fall out or nothing. So he's in there good. But if you were to remove Roller there, you can, of course, if you were to bring Optimus in here, put him right on the repair bay like that, raise the camera so that you can actually see what's going on, and then bring up the repair bay robot. You could simply just rotate around the arm and have him working on Prime like that. Of course, you can do the same thing standing up. It makes more sense to me if he's laying down. So that is, of course, I think the intended purpose of how this thing is supposed to be played with. But you can use it in many other different ways, and that's what I like to see. Playability and options are what makes these more expensive Transformers figures worth the money, and it definitely makes Prime worth the money, in my opinion at least. So we'll just put the trailer away and put it aside for now, and we'll move on to Optimus Prime himself. He is just a spitting image of his G1 self. Doesn't really do the figure justice. I'll say spitting image because that is what I say on this channel. But this is like a mirror. This is what I see in my dreams. This is what I wanted to see in my dreams for as long as I've lived for an Optimus Prime figure. I thought that the Earthrise G1 Prime was good. No. This is Optimus. Getting in close on him, I mean, he has the perfect paint apps on his face. He has, of course, those bright blue eyes. No light piping. They are painted. I'm not going to lie. I do miss light piping, but the painted eyes look a lot more accurate to the G1 cartoon itself. I'm no slouch. I don't mind that they're gone. But, of course, everything else is painted in matte gray on his faceplate, on his face itself, and on the crest on his forehead. I've heard people upset about the shape of the head. Honestly, I don't really get the reasoning behind that. Maybe I'm just smoking crack or something, but I think this looks perfectly fine. Going down, of course, he does also have this fantastic metallic sheen on his chest windows, as well as orange on his lights that we'll see better off in vehicle mode. His smokestacks are picked out in silver paint, and going down, of course, the grille also is picked out in silver paint. The sides of the silver stripes here, which are originally silver, now gray, are picked out in the same gray paint as the faceplate. And then his diaper, or the prime crotch, is as it is in the G1 cartoon, bright white with yellow accents and a little bit of blue right there for on the bottom of his crotch. His hands are, of course, blue. I will say this though: there is, of course, the I guess, fast forward buttons or whatever the hell these things are on the arms that are usually picked out in yellow paint are not here. And they are on the upcoming toy deco colors. So I don't know why these aren't, but it's, you know, the mold is there. So obviously, so if you're to get Toy Hack stickers or want to paint these in, you can. Of course, going down, his big robo clompers are picked out with silver on the gas tank on the side of his shins. And then, of course, his feet are blue with a little bit of gray on the toe. And then on the back of his feet, which I believe mine are actually assembled correctly. I know it was a big thing that a lot of the figures that were getting shipped had the heels misassembled and flipped backwards. And that is about it for the robot mode details. However, there's one more thing that we have to do with the accessories, and that, of course, is the matrix of leadership. If you pop open his chest and flip up this little panel here, the matrix just falls out. This is, of course, just the same matrix that we see with pretty much every single Optimus Prime figure or any single Prime figure. Not even every single figure, honestly, has one of these days. But of course, it is perfectly picked out in silver, bronze, and blue. Very, very dull bronze for the center of the matrix, which I find interesting. Getting in real quick on that matrix chamber. Unfortunately, it's not painted. That's my one big gripe about this figure, is that I would have really liked to have seen a painted matrix chamber. I might be able to get in there with a paintbrush and paint over that. I know that because of the way that this plastic is assembled, or at least so I've heard, it's not the sturdiest material in the world, and that's why they didn't paint it. I think I still would have liked to have seen it painted, but obviously that's perfectly fine. But honestly, I kind of missed the paint in here, so I'm going to have to take off slight points for that. But of course, the matrix can go in there. In case you were wondering, yes, Optimus can't hold the matrix. I've gotten him to do it before, but it's a pain in the ass, and this video is going to be long as it is. So I'm not going to do that just right this second. And finally, the last real detail that this figure has that I haven't talked about yet is, of course, the Autobot logo that is just the white outline on his shoulder, which is cartoon accurate. I love that this detail gets included on the really accurate figures, and I'm happy to see it here. Moving on to Prime's articulation, though, he does have quite a bit, as you can imagine. His head is on a ball joint, but it's actually kind of limited, but you can, of course, get some expressive poses out of them. And also his little Prime ears are on swivels because of the transformation, so we'll talk a little bit more about that when we do that, at least. Optimus does also have a full range of motion at the shoulder. You just gotta be wary about the little piece sticking out here from the backpack. But it can go all the way around, of course, and all the way out. No hot rod shoulders for this guy. He's got a good range of motion there. He also does have a butterfly joint, primarily for transformation. It does lock in there, but it can lead for some, winding up the punch poses. He does also have a upper bicep swivel, as well as a elbow bend, which goes 90 degrees, as well as a wrist swivel, which honestly, if it was not included on this figure, I'd have probably had a fit. He also does have, and as you can see there, and as I've showed off previously, individually articulated fingers. His middle, his ring, and his pinky finger are all together, and then his index finger is on its own separate joint, so that you can have him pointing at things heroically like that. He has a proper waist swivel, which is very good, as well as a great range of motion at the hips, but to do that, you need to flip up the front skirt, as well as probably the butt skirt as well. Then you can get a forward kick about that far forward, all the way back, and all the way out as well. So great range of motion at the hips. He does also have an upper thigh swivel, as well as a fantastic single knee bend, which is very good range of motion for that kind of a joint, as well as a ankle pivot, which can go all the way out. So obviously you can get Prime doing the full Van Damme. So obviously with a big price tag comes big articulation, and so you have the full Van Damme possibility. And then his final piece of articulation is just the toe bend like that. And of course the heel spur does the same thing, primarily for transformation, but it's there if you need it. That's enough for his articulation. As for a comparison, here he is next to our previous Transformers review. Short wing, as you can see, just a little bit taller there, which is probably accurate. Here, Optimus is next to a little Lego minifigure such as Batman. Here is Optimus next to his Transformers 1 co-star, and also, if you've been following the Skybound comics, if you know, you know, Elita 1, who is, I mean, there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm not going to make it. You can make it yourselves. Here he is next to a little Lego minifigure such as Luke Skywalker. And of course, here he is next to another little Lego minifigure such as Mara Jade. Make your own comparisons there if you will. I don't think I need to make any for you. Additionally, if you want to bring in someone else who I've never shown off before on the channel, we can do that. Here he is next to an old friend and royalty for Transformers YouTube, Planet X, Vulcan. But as you can see, Vulcan is taller than Prime. Prime is way taller than an average deluxe, which is probably good because he's leader size for Commander price point, and he has all the extra accessories, and he's definitely in scale with Lego minifigures, which we'll get a better look at when we actually take a look at Prime in his vehicle mode. But to get there, we need to do the transformation, obviously, so let's move on so I can show you exactly how Optimus works. Freeze frame. Freeze frame on freeze. Now, to get Optimus to transform, there's a lot of comparisons to a lot of the previous Optimus Primes that have been released in the past. A lot of people, when they saw this figure, first they saw the backpack and they heard that it was going to be a new mold, and they thought a lot about MP44. I don't have MP44. I probably will never have MP44. However, I do have MP10, and I can confirm that there are quite a few similarities to how MP10 works and this figure. And if you know anything about MP10, you know that that's one of the best of all time. So to start off, the first thing you're going to want to do is, obviously with pretty much every Transformer, just put away the hands. All you need to do is open up this door, fold the hand in, and put it away like that. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Just make sure it's all the way folded up. The fingers all crumpled up behind the thumb there. Just rotate that in like so. And then of course there's a hole right there and a tab right on the edge of the wrist piece. Close that over and the door will shut smoothly. Next, you got to work with these things. I hate these things. I'll mention it later in my final thoughts. But in order to get the arms in the proper position, you need to rotate up the smokestack, rotate the arm 180 degrees at the upper biceps level, and then fold up the elbow backwards. And then you can rotate the smokestack back down. The exact same thing on the other side. Rotate the smokestack down, rotate the arm 180 degrees, and then fold up the elbow backwards, and then you can rotate down that smokestack. And there you go. Next, you're going to want to come around to the back, take his little butt piece here, the Optimus ass that sticks out, and fold that down in between his thighs. Don't think about that any farther than you have to. And then fold out the backpack like so. There's a panel right at the top here that sort of tabs right into this little gap right here. Just lift that up. As you can see, there's a little tab there. And then the little side pieces will keep these two panels clipped up. Rotate that panel all the way up and then fold out either of these side pieces, which contain the vehicle mode wheels. Pull out the entire back piece, which is the vehicle mode grille, and then fold out these two pieces right here. These panels will become the front of the grille. Next, bring up Optimus's arms, and you can see there are two little pieces on the side here with little holes in there. If you can get in there with your fingers, fold up those panels like so. One on one side, and then fight with the other one on the other. Next, we have our first MP10 piece of shared engineering. Fold forward the Optimus ears so that they are out of the way, and then rotate around Optimus's head and fold it underneath his body like so. Once it's all the way in there, you can just press down on this back piece right here on the hinge, and it will pop up. Next, of course, there's a double segmented piece. Just make sure this is all flushed and flattened out on top so that it will become the top of the vehicle mode cab. Then all you're going to want to do is rotate the top piece of Optimus's chest all the way around, leaving the grille in the front here, and then do the exact same thing on the waist. So now the midsection is facing to the rear, but everything else is facing to the front, which is strange enough. Next, you're going to want to fold up the robot mode grille up above Optimus's face, and then fold up either of the side pieces of his abdomen into the back here so that they're all tucked away. At this point, you can fold these panel pieces back down into where they previously were, and then bring down Optimus's arms. Finally, at that butterfly joint that we talked about earlier, fold that back, and as you can see, there's a little tab on the back of his shoulder, a little slot right here on that piece that we folded out. Tab that in, and then in here, as you can see, right behind that panel we just folded down, there's, and it's very hard to see, a little tab right here. I'm putting my nail on it, so it's right there. And then there's a little hole right there. Swivel Optimus's arm in, and then place that tab into that hole, and then it will hold that securely. You'll know it's secure once you can come around to the back here, and you can see the top piece is flush, and the arm is flush against the midsection there. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Pull that back, put the shoulder into that tab, rotate the arm in, and just place those tabs inside that hole. Then you have the most of the back of the cab assembled. Next, you can come around to the front here. There's just this panel that's just been hanging out here. Fold that down, and then right here, try to get your nail underneath vehicle mode grill, fold it forward, and then there's another piece of grill segmented in there. Rotate that out, close up the grill, and then you can slide that right up into place where it's supposed to be. Come around to the sides here. The side of the doors are going to be folded in on either side as panels, and then this double segmented panel can just fold up and become the actual side of the cab. And there we have what I like to call Among Us Prime. Now that that 4-year-old joke is out of the way, we can continue with the transformation. As you can see right at the top of the waist here, there's a little pin that is on this little gray link arm connected to the white piece. Just fold that up so that the entirety of the hips and the legs can fold up and become flush with what will become the vehicle mode. Then come around to the bottom here. As you can see, this panel that we folded out at the very beginning of the transformation has 2 tabs on either side of it, right there and right there. As you can see, there are holes on the inside of the wheels. Just rotate that up, flex the wheels out, and try to get that in there, and then press the wheels in on top of that panel. You'll know it's in when you can't pull it out. So don't pull it too hard, obviously you don't want to break it. But next we can come around to the legs and do MP10 similarity number 2, and just fold out the front pieces of the leg mode, which were once the face of the shins, which will then fold in and become the way that the legs lock together. Next, you come around to the feet, and this is probably the most tedious part. There is a little tab and a little groove that are folded away on the inside of Optimus's legs. Right here is the hole. Just fold that out. Ensure it is parallel to the rest of the leg connectors like that. And then fold down Optimus's foot and fold up his heel. Do the exact same thing on the other side. Here is the tab. Just pull that out like so. And then fold down his foot, fold up his heel. You can then, at this point, connect both of the sides together. On the back of the leg, there are 2 panels. You can just fold those up. As you can see, there are little slots on the back of his thighs and little tabs right there on the very base of what was once the back of his legs. Just fold that up and tab that right into there on either side. You'll feel them go in. And then obviously, there are 2 holes right on the back of his forearms right there, and then little tabs on the front of those panels. Fold those up and into those holes. Give these panels a good squeeze in so that they're not leaning forward, and the truck mode can look like an actual truck mode and not like it's bending in half. And that should take care of that. Next, come around to these panels on the side here, and as you can see, there is a little tab right here that's sticking up on the very top of this side panel here. Just press that down, and once it is about halfway folded out, rotate out this red piece, which is just on a swivel right here. Fold that all the way up, and then this little tab right there, this blue tab, is going to go right into that hole on the bottom of Prime's arm. Fold that, and it'll go right into there. The exact same thing on the other side. Bring that down, fold around that panel. Just make sure that the fender goes around the wheel, and then you can fold that in and pop that right into Optimus's cab. Fold out the wheels on these little rotating doors, and that is Optimus's vehicle mode, all transformed. And as you can see, Optimus Prime is just as you'd expect them to be, a red truck. This thing isn't the most detailed in the world. Obviously, his truck face is fantastic, except for this little piece right here. I think this is supposed to be silver, and it's red for whatever reason. Doesn't bother me all that much, but it's just strange to see. He's obviously gained a lot of silver paint here with the headlights and the bumper, and all picked out with a little bit of detailing of yellow in there. The windows are picked out on and in that same pearlescent blue as the front windows, as well as the mirrors are picked out in that nice silver paint. Coming on to the back, of course, we do have all 6 of the hubcaps are picked out in silver paint, as well as the side gas tanks are in the same colors as well. As we've mentioned, there is, of course, the headlights, which I believe, again, are assembled properly on mine. There's a big gap here, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's not the most offensive thing in the world. It's not like there's a lot of kibble sticking out there. And then on the bottom, the silhouette is almost completely hidden other than his thighs right here. You couldn't even tell this was Transformer. The orange overhead lights are very nice as well, and that is pretty much all the detail on this guy. Of course, though, I did mention earlier that there were more accessories that this comes with, and this is, of course, the 2 boosting pieces here for the replication of the G1 takeoff scene from the 1986 movie. Obviously, being a Studio Series figure, he does need to have those. All you need to do to attach them is come to this panel that we tabbed into the tires, connect either of those to that hole. As you can see, there is a little bit of a door on the outside, which will tell you which side it goes onto. The door goes on the outside of either of those parts, and you can have Optimus Prime taking off, about to go. Well, he's obviously already ran over thrust, and he's going to go in the air and shoot a lot more people because he has the touch and also the power. Although I don't think many people will be displaying Optimus in this manner, I definitely love the fact that this was included. It's definitely going to help for a lot of stop motion representations of that iconic scene. But that is all those accessories are good for. Of course, though, this is an Optimus Prime figure, and it wouldn't be complete without the trailer. So if you were to bring that in, that is how he looks. And this is obviously just a perfect silhouette of Big Red himself. I absolutely love to see the completed silhouette of Optimus there. Truthfully, I could have done without the trailer and just done with the figure. But the fact that this is all included in this set, and there's a reason for everything to be here, it's not just senselessly tacked on, adds to my admiration of this figure even more. Before I hype Optimus up a little bit too much, let's see how he stacks up to some others. Here he is next to our previous Transformers review. Dreadwing, as you can see, truck size of jet. Not in scale, obviously, but you know, it's kind of what we're used to by now with Voyager class figures kind of scaling with each other. And here he is, of course, next to a little Lego minifigure such as Batman. Of course, is Elita 1, who is perfectly in scale, I believe, at least. A car versus a semi-truck. That's a good comparison, I think. Here is a little Lego minifigure such as Luke Skywalker. And I'll put Luke right next to Prime. That is perfectly in scale. And here, Prime and Elita are next to Mara. So overall, pretty in scale, I think. Yeah, I can definitely see either of these figures sitting inside of Optimus Prime and fitting perfectly fine. To bring in one final comparison, of course, and obviously you know what's coming. Here's Prime next to Vulcan. So there he is next to Big Dino Man, who obviously is quite a bit larger and probably in scale, but I don't know how big T-Rexes are because I've never seen one in real life. So that's how that stacks up. But that's enough for the comparisons. Let's move on to my final thoughts so I can tell you exactly what I think about Optimus Prime here. Freeze frame.
Optimus Prime cares a lot for his fellow robots, and he doesn't want anything to happen to them. I think he'd make a neat president.
Freeze frame on freeze. In the mythos of Transformers action figures, there have been so many I can think of. So many that I've handled, so many that have been produced that I've never seen because they're either obscenely rare or Hasbro's distribution is just straight up ass. But I digress. I wish that I could have given something more comprehensive, something more high-produced or well-edited, something like That Toy Guy or Few Atoms is out. Maybe even more like Jobby the Hong. something that takes the seriousness of what I consider to be, and what is already my longest review, my most serious review, and also puts in everything that I want to say that I can't express. It's all because this figure deserves that recognition. I can say that confidently, this figure, this Optimus Prime figure, is the best, bar none, official Optimus Prime figure that's ever been produced. I haven't handled every single freaking Optimus Prime in the world, don't get me wrong. But the only ones that can contend with this Optimus Prime that are mainline are Earthrise and Siege, and they don't even hold a candle to this shining beacon of hope. As for masterpieces, MP44 is hot ass, let's keep it real. And MP10 is great, but it's old, and this thing runs circles around it. Not to mention that it's only a fraction of the price, and maybe even 3 times the engineering prowess of that figure. It scales well. It has good accessories that mean something. It looks fantastic. It is everything that I, as a person, have wanted in an Optimus Prime figure since I was 5 years old. My feelings towards this figure cannot be expressed in words, and I wish I could do more reverence, because Optimus Prime is not only my favorite Transformer, but my favorite character in any media ever. He's my favorite fictional character. He's my favorite character of anything ever. I showed this figure to my friend, and within 10 minutes of handling it, he went out to Target to try to find one. Of course, obviously he didn't. But then a few days later, he was out with his girlfriend. He made an eep noise while he was in Target because he saw one of these on shelves, grabbed it immediately, and ran out. He didn't even think of the price tag, the fact that this figure's $90, before he bought it. And honestly, nor should you. When I say that this thing is worth the money, please God believe me. I don't give Hasbro credit for many things. I don't like the company. I don't agree with many of their business practices, but they did the absolute most with this figure. It's not perfect by any means, no. I really don't like that the Matrix chamber isn't painted. I understand why it isn't, but it still sucks that it's not. And I freaking hate the smokestacks moving. I hate this, but it's essential for the transformation, so I have to bear with it. That's the only complaints I have about this figure. Other than that, this thing is absolutely, and I mean it with my whole chest, perfect. I don't know what people are talking about when they say the head's bad. The head's fine, in my opinion. I think the main complaint is that the bill on the top of his head isn't there, but that's a bullshit complaint. Let's keep it real. It's quite literally, I'll zoom in right now. It's right there. You can see it right there. So to say it's not there is a ridiculous claim that I do not agree with. I don't think I can praise this figure anymore without sounding like glazing, so I'm just going to stop here. This video is already long overdue, and I have already made it very clear that I already don't have the lexicon to properly express my feelings towards this thing. The only way that you're going to know if you like this figure is if you try it for yourself. So I would absolutely, and I don't even mean this as a recommendation, I mean this as a suggestion that you get moving. Go pick up this figure before it's no longer available, because I promise you will not regret it. Yes, there's a backpack, but it's a mainline figure. Obviously there's going to be a backpack, and it's really not that bad. It doesn't affect the silhouette at all. It tabs in plainly. It doesn't get in the way of articulation. It doesn't look like a hot mess, and it's completely hidden from the front. You can only see a little bit of it under the armpit, and that is it. Other than that, this figure is absolutely stellar. It would make a perfect centerpiece in any Optimus Prime fans collection. So if you like Optimus Prime, or you like the Autobots, or you like the Transformers the movie, or you like Transformers in general, make sure you share this video with your friends, share the Facebook groups, all that good stuff. If you like the content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe down below. It keeps helping the channel grow, keeps helping me pump out this content. That's going to be pretty much it for this time, my friends. Thank you all so very much for watching, and as always, peace.